Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Aron. Today we're going to try to figure out what in the world is Surviving Mars, a city builder game based on you surviving on Mars, as the name would suggest, but also kind of terraforming the planet if you have the Green Planets DLC. And I'll get to all the DLCs that I have and don't have here in a second, but as usual, what we're going to do is take a look at the options first. So we have a few options here. You might notice that my mouse is moving a little bit weird. I'm not sure why, but the menu is locked at like 10 FPS or something like that. It kind of feels like 25, 30 FPS or whatever. But when I get in the game, it looks perfectly fine, so I have no issues there. We got borderless resolution, refresh rate, VSync, frame rate limit, and all the good stuff, which is good. And then when you go over to the video, you have a lot more options. You got the preset, which is gonna change everything to the preset, but if you want to change it customizable, you got shadows, textures, anisotropy, terrain, effects, all that good stuff. You have vignette option, so you can turn that off. You have post-processing, which is nice, so you can turn off. I don't see chromatic aberration, but I haven't really noticed it in the game. It kind of helps that you're looking at a red planet, so even if there is any chromatic aberration, you might not notice it, but I haven't really noticed it myself. So maybe it's under processing, and when you turn it low, it actually means off, which is pretty good. You got anti-aliasing, you got resolution percent, you got frame counter, all that good stuff. No more that you can ask for, well, except having all the post-processing options separate, but, you know, that's too much to ask, apparently. Master volume, music volume, sounds, voice, and mute when minimized is pretty good. You can combine a few of the controls here. Gameplay, you have some options. You can autosave every day. You got some other options here. You got some hints and all that stuff, which is pretty good. That's pretty nice to see. You got key bindings, mod options, not available yet. Okay, and you got the credits. So I do have some mods. I did install them throughout the middle of my game because I was struggling as soon as I realized that the metal deposits would run out. And I don't think there's enough metal deposits for you to actually play this game without actually struggling a lot. So these are my mods here that I have installed. I have 19 installed. A few of them are not up to date, so this one is not compatible. These are not compatible, which would have been nice, but what are you gonna do? This one is compatible, but it's not actually showing anything in the game. So on the research view, it doesn't actually appear, which would have been nice to remove the maintenance and dust, but seems a little bit too hacky and too cheaty. So the mods that I've personally been using is passages use empty hexes, but I've come to realize that as long as you just have them close by, close enough, people will go to the dome without actually needing a passage. And if you just connect the domes with some pipes, that's also going to be pretty good as well. Mode config reborn, I think you need that for one of the mods that I have installed here. Longer tunnels, I haven't really utilized this, but also when you the reason for this mod to exist is because you cannot build on the vanilla game a passage without using a hex. So you can just place that inside a dome somewhere that is not an actual hex. Well, the problem with that is if you click on it, it says it's inactive because it's not properly installed. So yeah, the mod fixes one issue, but then it just causes another. I haven't necessarily seen anybody use it since I've installed it that way. Increased dome work area. I will admit that the dome work area, the vanilla, is pretty small, very small. For station planets goes to 11, so that means that terraforming is not going to stop at 40% without having to do missions, and I'll explain that when the time comes. Faster warehouse, that just makes the forklifts a little bit faster because they're incredibly slow. Drones fix faster, blah blah blah. Drone load balancing, I haven't really noticed much of this, but it kinda works if you have enough drones in the back end, so you can give some more, or it transfers drones to nearby stations. But Yeah, you got deposit auto refill. This is the by far the hackiest mod that I have. It just automatically refills all the deposits. That means concrete, water, gold, and iron. Construction ignores cables. I installed that late in the game. I was pretty much done with the game, so that doesn't really matter. Career AI, that just manages who is working on a plant for you. So it prioritizes the specialized people, and then it'll just put the non-specialized in jobs that don't require specialization. Automated tourism, I never really use that. Auto gatherer transport doesn't really work. Auto explore, that works. Actually, they both work. Sorry. And then this one is just a prerequisite for one of the mods that I have installed. These are the mods that I have. If you think they're hacky, it's whatever. But I've basically finished the game, and I will say that it's a very challenging game, very time-consuming game. If it weren't for my mods, I'd still be playing the game, and I put like over 30 hours in the game, I believe. Let me just double check that. Oh, yeah, I have. What does it not tell me? Oh well, I have a lot of hours in the game. So here we go. This is working a little bit fast paced here. So I'm gonna zoom out. Initially, when you start the game, you're gonna be able to research these boxes. You're gonna be starting at a set area. Mine was right here, I believe, on this box. Then I just have to slowly research everything, and then you research a technology that lets you do an even deeper scan, because some of these resources are discovered under that. It's going to be a deep resource, and you're not going to be able to mine it if you don't research deep mining as well. So you might notice here my drones are flying. These drones are the key to happiness in this game. So these are the drone hubs. You can upgrade them to actually have 12. It starts with through 6, I believe. And they are the key. They're the key to your expansion. So this is my domain right here. This is what I've done so far. The way the game actually works is it kind of starts you off with a rocket. It's not on a landing pad, so you're going to have to build a landing pad pretty soon. And because if you don't have a landing pad, every time the rocket leaves and goes back down to the ground, it creates dust, which actually ruins the maintenance of your equipment nearby. So a lot of things are happening here. I'm going to try to explain as best as I can, because this is a very, very complex game. And that's what I love about it. It's unique. It's one of the most unique city builders I've ever seen in my life. And I was stuck with this game. I was just playing it day in and day out. So first and foremost, this is your building menu here. You got your infrastructure. So this is how you build the drone hubs. The recharge stations you can add to the drone hubs so they can recharge themselves. You got sensor towers that kind of looks ahead for the weather, so you can make sure you're not gonna be ill-prepared. A landing pad, trade pad, you got the shuttle hub. Research this as soon as possible. That's my only advice. That's the scrubber. It emits pulses which reduce the dust accumulated in the buildings. I don't really need that anymore because there's no dust because I created atmosphere. But the more you terraform your planet, if you have the Green Planet DLC, the less weather anomalies you're gonna have. So you're not gonna have to worry about that much stuff anymore. Auto saving here. We got a subsurface heater. Thankfully, I didn't have to worry about freezing temperatures, but that's, depending on which starting location you choose, that's one of the things you're going to have to worry about. You got MDS laser, which protects you from meteors. You got a tunnel, which is an excellent way to travel around, because this is one end of the tunnel, and this is the other here. So if I click a vehicle that is sitting right here, and I tell it to go over there, it'll actually just automatically go use the tunnel, which is pretty nice. I have a citizen that was reconstructed, blah, blah, blah. I did not read the whole thing. Achievement unlocked. So initially I thought the only way to come up on this high land is to build a ramp, and that takes a long time, so don't even bother with that. Just build a tunnel. What you can also do with a tunnel is connect pipes to it, which will transfer water and oxygen. And then you're gonna have to you don't have to worry about like sending oxygen to these domes here, because they're all taken care of. Now you may see I have these long power lines here. One of my perks of the faction that I chose is you automatically build pipes and electrical wires without the need of resources or the drones actually building them, which has been a lifesaver. I think that's a bigger cheat than anything else in this game, in all honesty. My domes are domeless because I have atmosphere and oxygen, so keep that in mind. There is a bug in the game that I noticed that I think every time you build a certain type of building, definitely one of these, and it happened another time as well, none of my buildings were working. When it happened the second time, and I realized that my drones, my little buddies here, they could not get inside the dome to repair the buildings or finish the building. So when I had this laying down here, this is one of the Wonders dome, because it's a little bit bigger. None of the drones were going in, so I saw none of my construction was being completed. So the only way to fix that, I read online, is to just exit the game to the main menu and then just reload your save, and that's going to fix that issue. Where was I? Yes, so the only downside with having that research, that perk available, is that you cannot remove, or at least I haven't figured out a way to remove the cables. And that was my decision behind actually picking the Construction Ignores Cables mod, because I cannot remove them. But I haven't really utilized it, in all honesty, and I was trying not to. I was trying to just play the game the way it was intended. But yeah, if you're having trouble with that, son, I feel bad for you. These are my MDS lasers. I could probably just salvage all of them because I don't need them. And let's continue with the building. This is the infrastructure here. We can salvage stuff, which is pretty nice. So then you got power. That's where you power everything. And you got your solar panel, large solar panel, wind power. You got Stirling generator power. You got fusion reactor. You got a battery, an atomic battery, power cables, and power switch. If you want to micromanage your stuff that way, which I don't, obviously. Oh, and then on the next side, we have production. You got a concrete extractor, metals extractor. Metals extractor does need people to work, so it's one of these guys. And then you can eventually research upgrades for it, so you can work a little bit faster. I'm going to slow down the time. We're not in a rush here. You got a rail metals extractor, which also needs workers. You got waste rock processors. So every time you process, you take out concrete or you terraform the land, you create excess rock, which is basically trash. It's waste until you actually find a way to process it. One of the ways to process it is going to be with the waste rock extractor, and it creates concrete out of those things. So if you run out of concrete deposits, which this is what it was when it was here, then you're going to be able to still produce some concrete, which is pretty nice. Polymer factory needs people, and it needs to be attached near a dome for the working area. Small electronics factory and a large one. So the small one takes 3 hexes, and then the large one takes the entire triangle of hexes. Same things with the machine parts factory, the small and the large one. Fuel refinery does not need people. It just needs to be attached to water and electricity. And a drone assembler does need to be close to a dome, and then it doesn't require people. Moving on to the life support, we have a Moxie, which generates oxygen. You got the tanks, you got the water production, you got water storage, you got the pipes, which can also be built instantaneously because of my mod. You got a farm, you got a big farm, fungal farm, ranches, and all that stuff. And you might have to worry about who you put next to all those things, because some people don't like to live close to farms, for example, and all that stuff, which is kind of annoying. Why is this not being repaired, man? Just repair this thing. Why are you not repairing it? Why are you just moving food all over the place? We have food. You need to repair it. I do need this building to function because I do have some renegades in the dome. So, okay, I'm gonna have to... Sadly, you cannot micromanage a repair, which is interesting. I'm gonna have to turn off this farm. Soil quality, that's an overlay that you can choose. Yep, going back to that, this is the life support stuff. You got some storages. This is the big storage warehouse. You can only have one type of resource on that one. So this is what it looks like when you have all the resources available here, which is pretty nice. Got electronics, you got machine parts, all the good stuff. And just do keep in mind that if you want to have electronics, they do require gold to be created. And that's where the balancing of the game is a little bit out of whack in my opinion, because you do need gold so you can generate more income, and you do need gold for generating items, which are really essentials, because if you don't have any electronics, guess what? Your computer stores are not going to be operational because they're not going to have anything to sell, which is going to be frustrating for your people, and their satisfaction is going to be going lower and lower. So the comfort is what's going to be. So these guys need more dining. Do I have any more room? Yes, I do. I'm gonna build a. Before I do that, these are the dome options. I've unlocked everything through research. The Mega Dome is the best one by far. It is the biggest one. This one is a wonder, and I'll get to that here after a minute. These are the dome homes, education, and research categories. So you got the apartments, you got the smart complexes, the regular complexes, playgrounds for the kids, nursery if you want your people to reproduce, all that good stuff. Got the research lab, you got the institute, which generates a lot more research, and the Olympus Hotel, which is, as the name suggests, a hotel. I have one here. None of my residents sit here. This is just mostly for the visitors that come, so they can stay on that one. Furthermore, we got dome services. So speaking of dining, I am going to plop a diner down right about here. And I like to see the view. That gives me one empty hex. Not a lot of stuff that have one hex. I'm going to put another diner down here because there was actually 8 instances and shopping is full. Okay, well that's pretty annoying. Well, you guys are gonna have to deal with it. First world problems or whatever. And these are gonna be the services that you provide to your people so they can be a little bit more comfortable. So you got the parks for exercise, you got the casino complex for social, gambling, gaming, and luxury and all the good stuff. Security station for the renegades, amphitheater for luxury, and a bunch of other stuff. Dome spires are gonna be these little things here. This is going to be, some domes hold one, some domes have none. So for example, this triangle one, it does not hold any domes, and I believe none of the triangles do. And this is the sphere, the oval one as well. I don't think it holds one. So yeah, the barrel dome does not have a spire, and the mega trigon, I think it has 3 or 1. The small trigon does not have a spire, and this one has 1. So this is the triangular spire. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's less configurable. It's not as useful, I would say. So I haven't, besides this one here, just because I needed something between these two domes because the working area was so small. If I had installed that mod beforehand, I probably wouldn't have needed one, but this kind of serves as a mediary for these people to move back and forth. Yeah, as you can see here, this one is established, but this one says connection failed because it's not using the hexes, and this guy's not going to actually use that one. I haven't really seen anybody use this, or this for that matter, because this one is operational supposedly, so it is what it is. I don't think you really need them. This was repaired. Yes, this was repaired, which is pretty good. And these are the spires here again. Each one has its own benefit. I think you start with the hanging. You start with the water reclamation system, which helps bring some water to be recollected up to 70%, depending on the shifts. You got some decorations here, which are pretty cool. The 1 hex decorations are going to be installed in places where there's only 1 spot available, and so forth. You got the outside decorations, which I haven't really given any thought about. You got the wanders, which I've built most of them. Artificial sun, I had to actually delete that one, or I think I still have it. It's just not operational because it uses A lot of water. Nope. Oh, yeah, it's right here. It's cool. Oh, no, this is core heat converter. What? That's not. That's not it. That just generates heat. Yep, I do not have the sun anymore. I think I built it somewhere around here. But it uses 100 water, which is, it's a lot. So I'm not using that one. You got the space elevator, so you can send and bring resources to your colony without actually having to use a rocket, which is pretty nice. Omega telescope, so you can reduce the cost of research, which is pretty nice. Project Morpheus. I think that one is this one here. Yeah, it just gives your people a few more perks. The excavator. I don't really need that because it's concrete. So that's kind of what you're gonna have to figure out. So this one, for example, this is the molehole mine. This will generate a lot of iron and a lot of gold, so that even if you do run out of all the resources here, eventually you're gonna be at the point where you're gonna be able to build one of these guys. It does generate a tremendous amount of excess waste. So I have these three waste rock processors here, so you can create more concrete, but then I'm just left with all this concrete that, yeah, it can be used for maintenance, but nothing else much more, because I don't really need to build anything else unless I build more stuff. So I was kind of late to expand out here. I was just doing this because I was trying to forest the area, which on the vanilla mode it stops at 40%, and then you're gonna have to do missions to get that. But each mission gives you about 5%, and it doesn't come often enough. So you're gonna have to kind of struggle with that aspect there. So I'm gonna change to more trees because there's a lot of grass here. Time to start building more trees. There you go. And by the way, you can hit control when you're changing something, and it will change it across the board for all those buildings, but I don't want to change it for all the buildings. Actually, fuck it, whatever. Let's change it for all the buildings. There's a lot of grass everywhere, so we have to build one more here so we can make it a little bit prettier. Yep. And last but not least, we got the landscaping, and we have the terraforming buildings, which are pretty nice. This is the capital city. This is what this thing is here. And be careful where you build it, because it will let you build it wherever you want, but it's not going to put down all the hexes if it's not a perfectly flat area that can fit the entire building. This is my space elevator here. You can automatically have a sending exporting gold if you want to have a steady income. I chose to save all my gold because of my my electronics manufacturing. So this is a space rocket that is coming from a mission, and I'm gonna land it here, which is pretty cool. I'd say of all my domes, this is definitely the most organized one. Every resource is easily accessible. There's no clutter. The drone hub is here, so we can actually move a lot of resources and all the good stuff. So one thing that you have to worry about when you're expanding, when you're going on your infrastructure, is the drone hub. So in order for this to be built, it has to be in the range of another drone hub. However, just keep in mind that because this drone hub is here, all these drones are not going to go further than what the range of it is. So let's say you have this drone hub here, right? I want to build something and I don't have any resources. These guys are not going to bring any resources to these guys just because they're in the same range. So what is suggested to do, what I suggest to do, I don't know if that's the meta or whatever, but every time I put a drone hub somewhere, I build one of these, just a universal depot, and then automatically, because these shuttle hubs are global, what they're going to do is they're going to grab the resources that are empty, and they're going to move them to this universal depot. So now, all of a sudden, I have the ability to build whatever I want, which is pretty nice. Oh, this was open already. Never mind. Open. Thank you. Why is it not opening? I think I broke it. Oh. Now it's open. Ah, that makes no sense. Ooh, let's upgrade. Fine. All right, and yep. So that's my only advice when you're trying to build further out in your city. So if I'm here and this gold deposit runs out, for example, and the next one is all the way out here, that's the only downside with this. If you don't have a mod, you're gonna have to slowly expand, kind of the way I have here. And then eventually create a few drone hubs that can cover the entire area here so they can actually get their job done. Now, it is recommended that when drone hubs are kind of like this, kind of idle, that you pack the drone for reassignment. So that means that it goes into the prefab and then it can be deployed wherever you want. So if we look here, where is a drone hub? I believe there's, yep. There should be one here. So this one, for example, it's on medium load. So that means the drones have a lot of work to do. So I have 24 available drones on the prefab. I can just drop down 4, and that went to low before I even did anything, which is interesting. This one, for example, is still medium. I'm gonna drop 22. I have 15 left, and so forth. You get the idea. This is low. It has 25. That's the one I already picked. This has 11, and there should be one. It's hard to see. There you go. This is low. We're just gonna bring it back to 15. So that's the idea behind the packing drones for reassignment. So yeah, these guys are just sitting here. They're not doing shit, and neither are these guys. There's 11 here, so we're just gonna pack them up, and then we're just gonna redeploy them wherever they needed. Usually a lot of load happens in this area. That's my beginning area, so you can see it's a lot of mess. I tried to kind of organize everything, so it didn't quite work out the way I was planning it would. But I think it worked out in the end. You may see a lot of moisture evaporators here. These are going to be your key to success when it comes to collecting water. It's going to be a few researches before you can actually build them. So the only way to get them is by getting them from Earth. And I'll show you what the screen looks like right here. So if you hit tab or if you hit the rocket, the resupply section here, you can either grab a cargo rocket, a passenger rocket. Space elevator is not going to be available for your supply pod. Supply pod is pretty cool because you can actually harvest it for 5 metal. And you have as many as you want. You never run out of supply pods. So even if you fuck up that badly and you want to recover, that's the way to do it. You're not going to be bringing any passengers anytime soon until everything is ready, right? And then you pick which rocket you want to do. This is what the cargo rocket looks like. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can do prefab buildings. Obviously, I've researched the way to get every prefab building. This is my drone hub. You can bring some drone hubs. You can do a fuel refinery, which is useful. And this is the moisture evaporator. They cost a lot of money, and you have a weight limit. So just keep that in mind before you do anything else. Again, this is the colonist. You can kind of choose which one you want to bring over. You got the tourists, and you got people that are specialized. So you got some scientists, you got some medics, and you got some no specialization. You can build a spire to create specializations for those people, even if they don't have any specialization. So don't even worry about if they don't have specialization. Sometimes it's better because they come as a clean slate, and then the spire will see what the demand is. And I'll tell you right now, most of the demand is going to be engineers. And as soon as you bring as many engineers as you can to your domes, that's going to be your best bet. What else, man? There's a lot to cover. You have these basic resources here that you're gonna have to you're gonna have to collect. It's gonna be the concrete, it's gonna be the metal, and then you're gonna have to refine all that stuff. You got the gold, that's gonna be refined to the electronics and everything which are required for the buildings again. But the Green Planet DLC. So the DLCs I have are actually the Green Planet, the The space race is another major one, and I have the deluxe upgrade as well. There's another one below and beyond, the only other major upgrade in the Martian Express. The Martian Express adds trains, which are not useful. You don't need trains in this game, and it's very negatively reviewed, and so is the below and beyond, actually. That's why I haven't really bothered to get it. Why would you need trains when the shuttle hubs can transport people? So I think I have one of these to transfer both people and resources, not just resources or just people. And then there's another one here. This one is only responsible on transporting people. So we can take people from here, for example, and just bring them right here. Right? So I wouldn't worry about the trains and the other research. The other DLC about the below and beyond is an underground one. You kind of you do the same thing but underground. It's a lot less fun. It's dark. People are complaining about it, so I'm not really worried about it. And the Green Planet DLC is the one that gives you all the terraforming options. So you have to create atmosphere, you have to create temperature, you have to create water, and then you have to create vegetation. The way you create either one is with temperature. You build temperature buildings. So if you go on this here and you hit terraforming, lakes will create water slowly. It's 0.1 per sol, so that's going to be pretty slow. It's not even 1%. And then you got the auto saving. And then you got the forestation plan, which you saw me change the seeds and everything. You got the open farm, which cannot work unless you have water and a enough temperature on your planet. You got the factory that creates temperature. This one creates atmosphere. This one, the core heat converter, which is what I showed you earlier, that it was the sun. Actually, no, I want to talk about that one. This one just creates more heat, which is pretty nice. It's a little bit more than the factory. So if you have this, if you can build this, but just keep in mind it uses a lot of water. This one just uses fuel. So depending on which resources you have extra, I was running out of fuel because when you build all the shuttle hubs, they use a lot of fuel. So just be careful. The magnetic field generator creates atmosphere, but also helps prevent the loss of it. So if you hover over here, I am creating 3% atmosphere, and I'm losing 2% every day. In order to reduce how much you lose, you build this guy, but read the instruction, it may trigger localized Mars quakes, which is an earthquake. That will damage your buildings. Now, I had like 5 of those built, and every single day I had like 15 or so earthquakes. Don't build too many of these. Just build as many of these as you want. It uses excess rock. So as long as you have this puppy running around and operational, you're going to have excess rock. And you're not going to have to terraform anything for it. Right? So that's my advice for that one. And then the Space Race DLC, if you open up the planetary view, there's going to be a lot. You have your enemy, quote-unquote, factions that you're working against. You can do a covert ops, so that means steal drones, steal technologies, recruit colonists, sabotage buildings, and delay their expedition, or nothing. And then... nothing for now. And then you got the contact, which helps you offer resources. You can increase your relationship with them, insult and all the good stuff, so you can reduce their relationship with you. I don't know why you want to do that, but maybe there's an achievement for that. So these green ones are related to the terraforming. Some of these will actually destroy your rocket, so the game will warn you before that. Just keep that in mind. This one triggers rainfalls, which is nice because rainfall will help increase the quality of the soil without actually having to do any terraform. So that's, whenever you see that, if you don't have the mod, this is going to be a useful one for you. And then some other stuff here that you use resources to get research and all that. Speaking of research, I want to show you the research menu. This is what it looks like. Kind of annoying because it is very hard to... So my problem is once you're researching something and then you get the notification that the research is done, it won't... When you click it, it won't actually take you to the research that you just researched, and you don't really know. You can't remember where it was, right? So you're gonna have to kind of remember, basically. But there's a mod that makes the check mark smaller, so you don't have to worry about a big check mark here hiding the picture, because some people remember the picture and they're looking for the picture and they can't find it. These two, the trademark and the patent, they give you funding and you can do them as many times as you want. So I can just queue that up as much as I want. It's going to give me 2 million. This one gives me 500 million, 2,000 million. That's pretty nice. See, it says maintenance here. There's no research. I don't know why, but it's here. It's buggy and it's staying. Oh man, this turned out to be a long video, but that's basically everything I have to say about the game. It's a balancing act. You have to keep your people happy. You have to have enough people living there so they can occupy all the working spaces. So if you click here, I have 3 people homeless. I have 22 vacant jobs. So I think that's because it's becoming daylight now. Martian days consist of nearly 25 Earth hours. Okay. So 1 extra hour per day. That's pretty cool. So yeah, now that everybody's working, I have 1 homeless guy and 1 unemployed guy on this dome. This dome is 1 job vacant and 3 homeless. I don't know why the drones are not picking them up. I guess they're not too smart. This dome is 21 job vacant or disabled, I guess, and 1 homeless person. Vacant work slots 4. This dome is doing pretty... Oh man, this is also pretty garbage. I think this dome is doing the best here. Wow, 15 homeless? I thought I planned ahead for this. That is very interesting. Yeah, that's another balancing act you have to worry about. You're gonna have to keep all the jobs filled, but you also have to create living space for your people. You know, you can't just have living complexes. Yeah, they're more comfortable, but they only hold 14 people. Apartments are a lot more cramped and they don't increase the comfort as much. They're granted less comfort during rest, but they still get some. But there is a research to upgrade the collective, and it gives you 10 more surface comfort, which is really useful. You're gonna want to do that. Oh boy, yeah. I'd say definitely get the Green Planet DLC. That's gonna be good. Let's see. The game itself is $30. It's $30 is great, right? Each of the major DLCs is $20. I don't think that the terraforming is worth the $20. Base game for $30. Fuck yeah, that's a great deal. I've gotten a lot of hours out of this game. A lot of thinking, a lot of brain power involved. This game has fucked me up. I was struggling at some point. I ran out of resources. I ran out of metals. I had to figure out how to get metals. This thing is not working because it has too much trash around it. So maybe if I get more drones out here and I create more storage for the excess rock, right, I'm gonna put it here. So if you hit shift and click when you're placing stuff down, you can place more stuff. So that should be a little more helpful. I'm surprised that these drones are not picking this stuff up. That's a big surprise to me. But that's pretty much it. I think I've hit all my milestones. 40% of workers on workshops. That gives me 10,000. Wow, I only have 1. So now that I'm done with my research, what I can actually do is go here and Hawking Institute. I can just destroy this and then free up some workshop, some job spots, so these people can actually fill the empty job spots. And actually, you know what? I have 2 of them. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to salvage this one. That's going to empty up. I think it's 8 people. Yep, 8 people. So now, theoretically, there shouldn't be any job vacancies. It just shows me the disabled work slots, because that's basically what there is to know. There's no job, vacant jobs. Maybe that's what that means. So now I can build some more apartment complexes here, and it will fix the homelessness issue. But comfort is pretty high. Morale is pretty high. It's a B. It's a solid B for everything. Sanity is 98. If all those are kind of low, then you're going to have some renegades cause some issues. I had one of the renegades blow up my rocket. So be careful how you treat your people, because they will turn on you. And they're also gonna, you know, delete themselves, sadly. You're gonna have to deal with that. So every time somebody deletes themselves, 10 people will disappear from the menu that you can use to bring people here, like a passenger cargo. So then you're not gonna have anybody to bring over here. You're gonna have to be careful. And don't expand too fast, because the passengers slowly replenish, and the tourists as well. That's all I had to say. I'm gonna stop rambling, because I can keep talking about this game for a very long time. This is a great game. I'm not gonna get the rest of the DLC. I don't see the need for it. But Green Planet is great, and Space Race is great. It gives you a little bit more gameplay element to play around with, but also keep in mind that the enemy factions can also sabotage you. One of them sabotaged me, and they destroyed one of my buildings, so be careful. Ultra wide works perfectly fine, no complaints there. The graphics are great. Yeah, that's all I had to say. I will save the game real quick. Let's see, so I can show you what the starting a new game looks like. I'm gonna go in the menu. Loading times are fast because it's on an SSD, but they're not as fast as I would have liked them to be. You got a new game. You have a few more game modes as well. This is what the new game looks like. You can choose your sponsor. Depending on which one you choose, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So it kind of tells you in the thing there. So space-wise normal. It's SpaceX. There's a lot of Tesla references here. A lot of Elon Musk stuff as well. Some quotes there. Some of these are more difficult to start with. Russia's hard. This one is the easiest one. Very easy. USA is easy. Depending on which one you get, there's going to be different benefits. I do like the not having to worry about building pipes and electric powers. You got the commander profile. That also changes a few things. This is the let's use some bonuses. You got colony logo that you can change. I named mine to Don't Panic. I don't remember why I named mine that, but anyway, you can change a few things for the new game. You got challenge mode, you got creative mode, and then you have the tutorial, which I suggest you play the tutorial. You might think that you understand the game after watching this video, but you really don't. And do yourself a favor and install the mods that I have installed, because they are going to make your life a lot more manageable. So there you have it, guys. This is one of the most, if not the most unique city builder game that I've reviewed yet and played as well. There's definitely some clones out there that try to do what this game tries to do, but they're not even remotely close to being in this quality by any stretch of the imagination. So grab this game for $30 or less if you find it on sale. Wait, don't pay $20 for either of these DLCs. Just play the base game. While you're playing the base game, you're kind of waiting for the rest of the stuff to come on sale. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to sign off because this is going to be a 40-minute video, I think. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.